Well, joining us now from Istanbul is our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, and also Yavuz Baydar, a political columnist for the Turkish newspaper Today's Zaman. First of all, can we just clarify, Lindsay, this question of the Deputy Prime Minister comes out to say sorry for the police brutality, sorry for the tear gas, but from Prime Minister Erdogan, the real target of all this, nothing.
Absolutely, and I think that his colleagues are hoping that they can sort this out while he's away. In Kasim Pasha, the place where I was today, where Mr. Erdogan was born, they say the men of Kasim Pasha think with their fists before their brains. And Mr. Erdogan, he's that kind of politician. He's a bruiser. He's a bit of a John Prescott. And what his colleagues are trying to do is calm things down, because they know when he opens his mouth, he might again say, all the protesters are looters, or everyone who drinks is an alcoholic. That's the kind of thing that really angered people here. But more than that, it's the way he takes decisions. And what this is a test of is, can he let some of the other politicians, the other people in government, have an influence, soften his stance, and have a dialogue with some of the protesters here?
Well, Yavuz Baydar, I saw you nodding your head during that moment when Lindsay mentioned the question of how decisions are taken, but I want to concentrate on the press with you, because your article this morning in your very influential newspaper, "Crisis of Turkey's editorially crippled media deepens further." And you say this is absolutely the moment of truth for the Turkish media because it is failing to report this properly. Why?
Well, the Turkish conglomerate media has been on decline for a long time, failing to fulfill its mission of disseminating news accurately and fairly to the people. And this has been going on for over 10 years now, even more. But lately it has become more visible and audible for the public that it was being censored and also forced to self-censorship because of proprietor control over the editorial content. As we know, as of today, there's almost no editorial independence in conglomerate media. And this was very visible at the night of May 31, when the major private TV channels, apart from the state-run TRT, failed completely and ignored completely whatever was happening on their, beyond their thresholds, because some of the buildings were very close to Taksim Square, and they were broadcasting programs like on medicine, schizophrenia, or documentaries about Indian Ocean, etc., etc. I think this was the first time Istanbul's public realized that there was something profoundly wrong with the way these media outlets were approaching, evaluating the news value. So this became very clear.
Well, briefly, do you track this directly back to Prime Minister Erdogan himself? Is he instilling fear in the hearts of the proprietors that you mentioned, or are they all basically part of some kind of cabal that supports him?
Well, through public procurements, public tenders, projects, huge construction projects, and others, some major proprietors of media, conglomerate media, have been very, very greedy lately about grabbing more and more bits of the pie, if you will. Right. And channels like NTV or Haberturk, etc., have their proprietors are to this or that degree involved in this project. So this is about.
Let me just bring in Lindsay here, because what is interesting is that this is very unlike the Arab Spring, because it doesn't seem, precisely because the media is not doing its job, that people really are mobilizing in any kind of ordered way. And I'm wondering, is the internet down? Are the phones not working? I mean, this seems to be simply spontaneous street activity.
Well, it did start off with an organisation, a coalition, which was on this environmental protest. But as you can see behind me, night after night, we're getting thousands out here. And it is the social media, which was similar to the Arab Spring. And Prime Minister Erdogan said that Twitter was a menace to society. I think he meant that it was a menace to himself. We mustn't forget that this is a democracy. People can vote him out. They feel that his way of behaving is authoritarian, and they're very angry about the media. I mean, the story which I hear again and again is about how one TV station, when all this was kicking off, was showing a documentary about penguins. People keep coming past me and going, penguins, and they thank the foreign media for being here.
Yavuz Bida, how serious is this? I mean, is it a threat to the Turkish state? Is a revolution in being? Or is this basically a pinprick from which Mr. Erdogan needs to learn a big lesson?
Well, you know, most of you remember the incident at Davos and Erdogan leaving the scene angry to Shimon Peres after saying 1 minute to try to talk. I think this was Istanbul youngsters' way of saying 1 minute, just a minute to Erdogan. It was about human dignity, about expecting respect, about expecting the way to be treated as they are, whoever they are, Islamist or not, secular, liberal, etc., etc. This is about a new generation of people. If you look at the Taksim Square, you will see exclusively Erdogan generation, what I call Erdogan generation. Those who are born after Erdogan becoming a leader, powerful leader, first as mayor of Greater Istanbul and then prime minister.
Right.
Those kids have grown with Erdogan, and that's why this is a generation who are now showing signs of fatigue with this powerful leader also. So this is like a Thatcher syndrome, Kohl syndrome, or maybe Tony Blair syndrome, 10-year rule.
Well, I didn't expect to be talking to Turkey to hear that you were suffering a Blair syndrome or a Thatcher syndrome, but thank you very, very much for joining us, Yavuz Bida and Lindsay Hilsum in Istanbul. And for more on what's happening in Turkey, including film images, analysis and blogs from our foreign team, go to the Channel 4 News website and follow the links. Katie.